Hey, fun fans, it's We Enjoy, designed and directed by his Red Right Door. We've got Insidious, the Red Door to talk about today. We have the Mattitude Eric. I am Matt Fowler. Say hello, Eric Goldman.
Stay with me.
Uh,
Hello.
is that Patrick? I know he contributed vocals, but is that just him singing? Is this like a Robert Downey Jr. situation
I
where
think
Patrick Wilson,
so.
it's just a Patrick Wilson cover of a Shakespeare Sister song at the end?
Maybe. I mean, it's Ghost featuring Patrick Wilson, but yes, I'm not quite clear.
I would like to believe that that's why he just did this entire movie. It's just,
The long
is it
con.
so he could do the song for the
because
end credits?
because since the first Insidious, he's been trying to get James Wan and Lee Wadell to let him sing a song. This is the only way.
He's like, God damn it! He's like, let me sing one for one of the Elise movies.
That'd be even better. But somehow he's like on camera.
Yeah.
Do you know much about the band? So we're talking about the closing credits of Insidious, The Red Door having a cover of Shakespeare Sisters Stay by Ghost featuring Patrick Wilson. Now, are you familiar with Ghost as a band?
Yes, Swedish
Okay.
band. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was not at all until a funny period a couple years ago when they had the closing credit song to Halloween Kills called Hunter's Moon. That was like this funny, cheesy, like it's the Hunter's Moon, like which we might have even talked about when we
The
did
thing
that.
about Ghost is that they're kind of like cheesy. And
Yes.
I'm not a big fan of them. But yeah, like they exist in this world of kind of like metal where metal people kind of side-eye them a bit or side-eye Ghost fans at least. But yeah.
So yeah, I'd never heard of them, and then they had closing credit songs on two long-running franchise horror movies, fairly within a couple years of each other.
Are they the new Dawkins? Probably.
Maybe. But I also will say I've always really loved Stay by Shakespeare's Sister, mostly for that part when it kicks in, with the
but mostly because you could
your
envision
own
decades
way.
later, you're like, someday a mid-tier handsome actor who is directing his first feature film is going to cover this song.
I mean, that was
it's
the
gonna
main
be
reason.
even better. Yeah.
That song came out in like 92, and I saw the future laid out in front of me.
Do you know that Shakespeare's Sister is founded by one of the Banana Rammers?
I did know that. I mean, as you were saying it, I was reminded that I did know that was because it was a kind of funny reinvention. It was like a goth reinvention of someone who was like
It's
a
like,
pop
yeah,
star.
it's like now this is for the 90s and stuff. We are the Mattitude Eric. Eric was talking about let's getting better at doing the business up top. So you can follow us on all of our socials on Instagram and Blue Sky, and I guess over on Twitter/X. If you go to the bad place, you can also check out our podcast over on YouTube if you just want to like have it play in the background on the YouTube app. And we are going to start next week a run of 1986 movies. So this is the official end of our Insidious run, leading up to the new Insidious movie coming out. Out of the Further, right? Is the new one?
I believe
Beyond the Further. I think it's Out of.
I think it's Out of the Further. Yes.
Did
you say 1986 or 96?
I thought I said 86, but to clarify,
yeah,
we'll say
okay.
86. Those who know the podcast are like, that we go 40 years back. So that would be 1986. And so, yeah, we'll start it off with my pick. We're going to do 3 picks each, correct? So It's a 6-week run. And we're starting off with a pick of mine, which is Running Scared. I probably talked about this.
You
I may
have.
have recommended it in the past.
Definitely recommended it. Yeah.
Which it's my favorite, I guess. A, it's a movie I just love in general, but B, it's like my favorite buddy cop movie of the 80s buddy cop movies. And I'll talk all about why when we do it next week. It's got Billy Crystal and the late Gregory Hines and Jimmy Smits and a bunch of other people. Dan Hedaya. I'm not going to list everyone. Anyway, it's good. We'll do Running Scared. You can watch it on Roku channel with ads, or you can rent it, or it might be on Prime Video. Check it out. Okay. Eric Goldman. 2 things I want to talk about before we get into the Red Door. And then I know you've got probably more preamble. But one, Ty Simpkins is no longer dating Indy Navarrete. Like that's confirmed, right? Like
yeah, that was back in the day. Yeah.
Okay, so
by
back
the way,
in the day when this movie
was Indy Navarrete, but I'm not sure about that.
I don't know.
We should. Well, look, we should be sure, but we're not yet.
Yeah, don't want to make her upset. I've seen the movie anyway. So they were dating around the time of this movie. Maybe was that
when
the
this
red
movie was
carpet picture?
when this movie was coming out, they were dating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a bummer they're not. You know what? Young love. The only people who have cracked it, I think, in New Hollywood is probably Tom Holland and Zendaya, right?
Oh yeah, they're long term.
They're the ones who seem like genuine connection best friends. Anyway,
but it was, and the only reason I knew that was because Indiana Andrade went from like mostly unknown into like a megastar in 2 months. Is that like I saw people like, now my God, it's like everything about her is her social her history, whatnot, and so people mentioned something about Ty Simpkins in relation to her, and I was like, huh, and then I saw, oh, they briefly dated.
I lied. I have more than two things. Okay. Second thing though is actor, new director, crooner Patrick Wilson plays Josh Lambert in this movie. The Lamberts are back. Is Josh Lambert the worst person at the simplest memory game you've ever seen in your life?
I guess, but
he's like Mom, Dalton. Where was Mom? Like he's like literally. Like,
but I think we're supposed to give him grace because Renee says that the side effect of like erasing his memories is he got, quote, foggy. Okay, so it's like
I do appreciate that they leaned into like after the fuck up that was the forgetting hypnosis. Like he's been on a downward slide and been worse, and it contributed to the divorce. I get that, but he's so bad at that, Eric. I don't know how he gets to work. Like I don't know how he wakes up in the morning. I don't know. Again, I don't know. We already know his breakfast game is only 50-50 because he still eats that dry oatmeal, which is something that Dalton says that he also does, like father, like son. Mm-hmm. But he poured his creamer in the coffee cup first before the coffee, which is like AP breakfast game. So I don't know what to think about Josh. He's terrible. I don't know how he functions. I don't think he does. That's probably the point of the whole movie. Thirdly, I should say, do you want 10 years from now, or at least in 2033, another Lambert movie? Is this the Before Sunrise trilogy of the horror movie world? Do we want to see them all age in real time?
Yeah, yes, I do. I do. Ty Simpkins is
this Boyhood?
Yeah, this is Boyhood. Yes, check in back with the Lamberts, who this time did not. No one went under a forget everything spell. So we can circle back with the Lamberts once in a while, and we can see what song Patrick Wilson will cover, and or maybe Rose Byrne will cover one next time.
Sure, maybe we'll finally hear that full song that she wrote.
Oh God, yeah, there you go.
That we only hear like bits and pieces of
her piano symphony, "Lick My Love Pump."
It's like, by the way, I have thoughts about their marriage too, but. Eric, what are your impressions of The Red Door? Movie I'm assuming you saw in the theater.
I did. First, I hate when I have to do this, but these days I always feel like "Lick My Love Pump" is reference to This Is Spinal Tap. I wasn't just saying.
Were you relying on me to say that? Like, no, we can't do that. We can't just call out every reference, Eric.
I know we can.
Kids got to know something. I know there was a Spinal Tap sequel, but
it was more me being like, if I don't say it and you don't know, was I saying some weird Rose Byrne blowjob thing for no reason except
there's no problem with saying some weird Rose Byrne blowjob thing.
Okay, I guess so. And then if you have not yet, you should join our Patreon. For just $2 a month, you can be a super fun fan, and you can get ad-free versions of the podcast. But for $4 a month, what a deal! You can get at least ad-free version, first of all, but also at least one bonus episode, extra Patreon exclusive episode a month. Sometimes you get 2. Sometimes we go crazy and we do like 4 or 5. And we just put up, not just, but a week ago, we put up a Supergirl Patreon exclusive episode, and you can go listen to that if you're a Hudson Hawker. Catch the Hawk. Now, yes.
Speaking of Lick My Love Pump, and I bring this up because I don't know where else to put this, maybe in the news, but I'm going to say it here. They nerfed Captain America's giant Marvel Rivals hog.
Oh my God,
already.
they did.
They already
Yeah.
shrunk it
I mean,
down.
this still can be a whole news segment, but the rise and fall
The rise and fall of America's hog. Yeah. So
of the giant penis that they gave Captain America and Marvel Rivals. Man, I mean, everyone was like running articles about it. I've never seen people so unified and talking about.
there's just sometimes something strikes and everyone has nothing else to write about that day, and it's like this is
I mean,
what we're going to
it was in a
hyper-focus
holiday
on.
weekend, so it was just
Yeah.
kind of perfect.
I mean, it was for the 4th of July.
It was
I mean,
for the 4th of July.
but now it's at half mast. Anyway,
and it doesn't bounce anymore because I saw how it used to bounce, and they took
which
it
is sucks because everything else in the game bounces. Every
I
other
know,
body
no.
part on every other character bounces.
Bring back.
Why
the
can't we
bounce.
have just a flopping wangadang? I don't know.
If people don't know what we're talking about, you look it up. Marvel
Look,
Rivals.
We can't hold their hand for every
This is
goddamn
more me
thing.
wanting people to look it up.
Okay.
This is not me feeling.
Just say Google and then tell them the keywords.
Yes.
Okay.
I saw this movie in the theater. Yeah, I've seen every Insidious. Like I said, I had that shakiness on the second one, but I am fully committed that I saw 3, 4, and 5 in the theater.
So what did you think of the movie and with Patrick Wilson's directorial debut and the return to the Lambert clan?
So it's interesting because I was whatever on the movie when I first saw it. I knew I didn't like it as much as 3 and 4, but I will tell you, I liked it more this time. And maybe it helped that we just watched them all. Like I did say, I rewatched 1 and 2 before I went to see this one. But yeah, this one didn't really land for me almost at all in the theater, I remember. But this time I liked it more. This time I felt it more of like going back to the family and going for a full circle feel again. Like every long-running horror franchise, like, oh, this would be the perfect place to end it. Well, so would have the fourth one, and that's just not how it works with these things. So would the second one. But I did think it worked on that level. Patrick Wilson as a first-time director, I think, is decent. There are definitely some scenes where I think this would have been creepier with a more seasoned...
a different, like, especially since we also went through Lee Whannell's directorial debut, which is he comes obviously from a very different school of, being behind the scenes for a lot of horror movies and creating a lot of horror projects. He's been next to
James Wan at that point for
where it's
so
like
long
the jump scares were dialed up to 11. More spine. Should we tell him that Spinal Tap, Eric? Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway.
No, don't you dare.
All right. So it's but like to come to this movie where there's so much more looming in the background and only a few jump scares and only one of them was kind of like effective for me at least. That it's interesting just to see, and it doesn't mean that that's what this whole series has to be about, but it's interesting that I think he did a fine job, but it wasn't like, holy shit, Patrick Wilson has the chops, but I think he did a fine job. And I like that he sort of also stewarded this storyline, right, with his directing. And, now he gets to direct a grown Ty Simpkins and like his co-stars from the first movie. Lee Whannell came up with the story, like came up with the story for this, but this was his first mostly hands-off like movie of this entire series to date, with Wilson directing and then Scott Teems putting together the full screenplay.
Minus a Specs cameo on the computer.
Sure.
But the upcoming 6th one will be the first one where he doesn't even have a story by credit, which makes sense. As we said, he was getting very busy as a filmmaker himself here. But yeah, this isn't like a standout directorial debut. It's not, like John Krasinski, right? With A Quiet Place. Like, oh shit, like Jim from The Office can like direct some fucking horror. This isn't like that, but it's good. There's some good character stuff. There's some good moments, I think, with the characters. Even Rose Byrne in her small role, I like I was thinking like the moment where obviously she's a very good actress, but like when she kind of like tells him like, you tried to kill us and things like that, I think really land. And there's some, there is the, insidious sort of creepy imagery that I still think is pretty good. But like I said, there are some parts where I think, oh, this could have been creepier. But I don't think he quite like was dialed in to like make it as like, actually like scary as some of the other ones.
Good job on also keeping the same actor as Foster, the younger brother Foster. I thought that was just like, they didn't have to.
No, they didn't. But I mean, obviously, like, first of all, it's just a nice thing to do. He was in the first 2 movies, even if he never had a big role. And second of all, they're going to do flashbacks and they're going to actually show us footage from the first 2 movies. So good to have the same actor
It
there.
would be funny if they actually had the same baby or one of the babies that was in the first two movies be the younger sister. And
But
not,
right.
she has one line. Look, even if this person isn't an actress at this point.
It is funny
Um,
that they still send her off because they're like, what are
yeah.
we gonna do? What are we
By the
gonna
way, I
do
was
with her?
very surprised that Carl, who has a cameo
Hmm.
at the beginning of
Yeah,
at the grave at the cemetery, didn't come back like Rose Byrne's character Renee. Renee didn't contact him to do the hypnosis. They
yes.
just do it themselves. And I was like, this could have been a Carl moment. But anyway,
It was two things that seem weird about the beginning, just as far as like not going. And look, I'm not saying it's bad, but it's just like, yeah, the funeral scene in general brings up two things where you think they'll do something that they don't do, which is a Carl having a larger role, just even if it's one scene, like you said, just coming back. Because I do like that, like seeing him is one of the things that like fucks with Josh, like that this person he's forgotten he ever met, but he has a weird moment with when he hears his name. And then also there's so much about Lorraine and Barbara Hershey. And Barbara Hershey obviously signed off on her image being all over this movie. There's so many pictures and drawings of her that I expected to see her in the spirit world.
sure, I get that, especially
So
because moms have been saving the day for the past two movies at
right,
least. And it doesn't
right.
happen here. This time it's like a dad who doesn't get to speak. Who I guess I don't know if how purposeful it was that his look looks like Dalton, like with the long hair, like it's
Mm-hmm.
sort of like almost a Dalton doppelganger and the ghost of the dad. It was also strange that by the end, where you think that they've sort of solved the crisis and like the family's reconciling and maybe the marriage will even heal. We'll never, you never know that when he sees Elise, he's still, I know you. Like he still doesn't remember. Like
Yeah, but
it was even weirder when she's like, yeah, you killed me.
but it's funny because I don't think there's one of those things I knew I wanted to mention, but maybe I didn't mention in the first two movies, which is I did kind of like in the first two movies that Josh is told about what he's forgotten from his childhood or what they took away from him about what happened with the haunting when he's a kid, but he never actually gets the flood of memories coming back in the first two, right?
Right.
Like it's like he's told about it and then maybe it strikes a chord in him, but it's not like I remember it all. And so it's the same thing in this movie, right? It's like he knows what happened now, and it's in the back of his mind somewhere, maybe like the reason that Carl was familiar to him and now Elise, but he doesn't remember all the facts. So I do kind of like that they stick to those rules, though it's also funny that this movie they had to deal with the end of the second one, right? And the two main characters of this movie having their memories wiped of the things we watched them go through. So it's interesting because it's a movie that's going to inherently be like, we're ahead of them because we know what they went through. We watched it.
Right.
And I was shocked how long the movie goes without them still being told what happened. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
we're way
So what I liked about this movie, the movie wound up being just okay for me.
Mhm.
It was fine, but I do like the idea of going back to explore this family and exploring how what a bad idea repressing memories with hypnosis was. Like
Right,
this is
right.
just a bad idea. But because right when I was like kind of upset at Renee, it's like, oh, like you divorced this guy because in the wake of a choice that you all made, like he got foggy and distant and like, I don't know, forgot to I don't know. He just became not himself. But your choice was also to leave him. But then he did try to kill them. So it is a situation where it's like you tried to kill me and our kids. And yes, it wasn't you, but like, how do you recover from something like this? Now with Dalton, obviously it was hypnosis suppression. It was crazy to me that with Foster, they're just like, it was a bad dream. I don't buy that at all. That's
No,
like
well,
Foster's going to remember this completely. Like there's no way you
yeah.
spin this that
Right. Because they do the flashbacks and like,
yeah.
oh yeah, his dad was trying to kill
This
them.
is literally like you did not, yeah.
Well, we
So
we joked about it's funny because remember we joked about the fact that Foster wasn't present in that final scene in two when they're doing the hypnosis, and that was weird. But this movie does make it even weirder, where it's like to think about the fact that it is strange that they wouldn't just wipe all four of their memories, including Renee. because
Right.
yes, I get that Josh and Dalton went through extra stuff. They went into the further together,
I
but
think that's why I was upset with her, because she did remember and
right,
why they did
right.
it. Now, the whole thing is like Patrick Wilson's character starts getting really upset. He's like, "How can you do this?" And she's like, "It was your decision too." But again, she's the one who has to live with the real knowledge of all of this, while two forget and a third is lied to, right?
Right,
Like,
right, right.
and also making the decision to end the marriage and separate the family. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. Like, at this point, just do the hypnosis to make them remember, like just reverse it and get Carl in there, reverse it, and then try to figure it out else out from a different angle, rather than like send, Patrick Wilson, the world's most important middle school teacher, apparently. I don't know what's going like. She's like, can you drive Dalton to school, or do you have your students? It's like he's some tenured professor. Does he just teach the fucking like local elementary school? I don't know.
um yeah, it's funny because like yeah, it makes me want even more, like, because the ending of the second one, Foster's not in the room, uh and Renee doesn't get the hypnosis too, so I kind of want to kind of see the conversation before that, where she's like, you know what, I do want to remember, because it just seems like it would have been simpler to wipe all their memories and better for
Yeah,
them.
and also like maybe have a safeguard. It's like, hey, this obviously didn't work when we wiped his memory when he was a kid and it led to bad things. If it starts leading to bad things again, maybe we have a fail safe, a plan B, right? Like
Right, right.
maybe if you start getting foggy and distant and I want to divorce you, we figure this out from a different way. Anyway, that's obviously this is all fridge logic, because it's like how we're not supposed to really expect horror movie families to behave the way like a natural, rational family would behave. Anyway, um, I was also surprised that in this movie, with the return of Lipstick Face Demon, or Man with Fire in His Face, or
Hmm.
whatever this guy is called, Insidious Chapter 2 went into such depth with the Bride in Black and trying to explain that whole side of the equation. We still haven't gotten a backstory for this fucker.
It
Like the
is.
last two Elise demons got no backstory, and that was fine. But I was really expecting the Tiny Tim guy to get something.
Me too. So it's funny because, like I said, like I think watching all five of them together did help me. Like when Dalton, is sort of like when we finally go back to, like, for the first time since the first movie, to like Lipstick Demon, like in his little room and with his record player. Um, and Dalton, it's like it feels important because it's like, again, it's like they've been building this guy like he's the ultimate big bad, especially because the third and fourth both ended with those like there he is moments. And so it's really cool when like Dalton's in there and there he is, he puts the record on and it's a different Tiny Tim song, which is amazing.
Yeah, he's like, look, Tiny Tim isn't just a one-hit wonder. He has a full discography that I'm going to explore. You're trapped in my realm. You get to listen to my fucking music. Yeah. So
um, but what's it? What was the name of that song? God damn it!
something about love.
As I'm looking for that, um, I'll just say yes. I did think that this movie would give us a little bit more, at least about the like. I don't mind. It's funny rewatching them and realizing that, yeah,
Fill your heart.
fill your heart.
Sorry.
And so fill your heart, which a couple funny things about that song, which is it was the B side. It was the B side to Tiptoes Through the Tulips.
So maybe this dude only has 145.
He just has
and
it
he just
already.
flips it over. Yeah, there you go.
But the other funny thing is, this song was used in the trailers for Welcome to Derry. So if you look it up on YouTube, the comments are all here because of Insidious, the Red Door, or here because of it Welcome to Derry. Like Lipstick Demon and Pennywise.
Oh, you mean the comments for the song, like on
Yes.
YouTube? Okay,
Like,
yes.
why are people, it's like, because that always happens. Like, there was a Veruca Salt song on X-Men 97 this week. And if you go to the YouTube, to the music video, it's like, here because of X-Men.
Do we care why people are here? I don't know.
I mean, they like to share it. But anyway,
Sure.
so first of all, Matt, because they're not going to give us any other information, I'm just going to go with the theory that Lipstick Demon is, in fact, Tiny Tim. This is Tiny Tim.
Sure. And this is the hell he's created himself after his failed New York City mayoral bid.
Right. And the timeline works
yeah.
because he died in 96, so plenty of time to be oogity boogieing by 2010 when we start to see him.
I did go through the scare zone for this movie, which I don't really remember much except that this dude was in it, and I just figured that he was in every Insidious movie at that point.
And he was, except for the
Yeah,
second, wasn't
yeah,
it?
pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
He's just the dude. He's just the dude behind the dude.
He's the dude behind the dude, played by the composer, which again is very funny to me that this guy is the composer of every movie in the series.
Very also, again, for something that felt like a bookend, like something that could end the entire series or at least the Lambert family part of it.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that all they do is just trap him, like they don't defeat him, they don't Dream Warrior his shit like inside, like
right.
Elise had more fisticuffs in the further than these guys do.
This is true, and that's what I was. Yeah, thank you. You're actually reminding me to finish my thought. I distracted myself with my facts about the song, which is that it feels important. Like it feels like a cool moment if you watch them all together when Dalton's like gonna face him, but then there's no real face off. Yeah, it's
right.
Like,
they just escape. And I like the fact that he finally got to possess Dalton, which is what he's wanted for, he's look, the dude's obsessed because Dalton's in his realm and there's all these mannequins that are like scenes from Dalton's young life that he's sort
cool.
of like
I like that.
concocted. Yeah, I like that he's just sort of targeted this guy. And he does get to briefly possess him, for which he attacks Chris, his roommate, not roommate, love interest, not love interest. I don't know what's going on. Anyway.
Will they or won't they, man?
Will they or won't they? And where does Nick the Dick fit into all of this? Because there's elements of this movie that feel like huge distractions and like, why the fuck is this there? There was a part of the movie where I thought Dalton was going to be trapped in the further forever with Nick the Dick shitting next to him. And it's like, this is my hell.
That would have been a dark ending.
I don't know what to think of this. I literally looked up who the actor was because I'm like, is this Patrick Wilson's son or something? Why is he in the movie so much? What does this mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Because there seems to be a mini mystery going on about like a kid died in the frat house. Is there more to it? He's puking his guts out and he dies from that apparently. But that's just all it is. Like, I thought we were going to find out that Nick was responsible for poisoning him or something. But nothing comes of that. There's just a lot going on in the frat house. It reminded me, of course, as any situation like this does now with Boardwalk Empire, where a guy at a prep school shits himself to death because one of our main characters is trying to get revenge on a bully and develops this diarrhea medicine that makes you shit yourself, but gives him too much and he shits himself to death overnight.
I forgot about that.
Horrifying.
Yes.
Especially because the whole episode is that. It's just him on the toilet dying and shitting.
I did like what I did. I did think it's funny that you said it's Patrick Wilson's son or something, but I actually did like the casting here because he wasn't like a big, buff aggro guy we usually get as the frat guy. He's kind of this skinny, twerpy
but also
guy.
He seemed to be sort of like a manosphere, like when he was like a place where men can be men, and then he's met with crickets.
Well, right? I was going to mention, I like that. Yeah, like I like that. It's like it's like there's maybe they'll go to his party, but they're not really into Nick the Dick and what he's selling. But so you said I'll lightly correct you because this was not a scare zone; it was a full house. The Red Door. And
okay, I don't know the terminology,
but at Horror Nights, and I think I've mentioned that it's like even when they
what do you call them? Just a haunted house? What do you call them at the place?
Some people used to call them mazes, but they tend to go with the term houses. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, they'll with Insidious, they almost always mix in all the movies. So even when it's like Insidious 3 had just opened, it's like the house that year had like creepies from all the movies. They just might concentrate a little more on the third movie. So I know they did that again with the Red Door, and we got like things that weren't in the Red Door, but there was, a lot of it was based on this movie. And the thing that really stands out to me is you would walk through a dorm room. Again, haunted house logic, so it doesn't really flow as with the movie because you should be walking into the frat house because what happens is you walk through the dorm room and then you turn into a bathroom. And the thing about Horror Nights is that, they want to get all your senses and sight, sound, and smell. And they'll talk about how it's like, oh yeah, we have the scent day where we take out all the vials of the different scents. What are we going to use? And sometimes it's really effective, can add to the creepiness. They can add burning scents. If it's a fire situation, they can add cooking meats. If it's Texas Chainsaw, which they've done. But I will, and
I'm gonna defer to your memory of this haunted house. Was there someone puking in a toilet?
Mm-hmm.
Was there? I'm asking.
It was. Confirmed.
Okay, I kind of remember that.
There
I'm
was someone.
checking with what I think. I don't know what's real memory and what isn't. So I'm double
Yes,
checking. Was
you're
there
foggy.
were there mannequins like the Dalton mannequins in the Tiny Tim dude's lair?
I
Were there
don't think there were mannequins like the Tiny Tim dude. They've done, and I as I
like a little Dalton climbing up a ladder?
I don't
Was there something like
remember
that?
that, but you could be right. I mean, and for the recent ones, of course, we can always go on YouTube and we'll find like walkthroughs of this
Sure.
stuff. I think I've mentioned how they've definitely done more than once the room with all the people wrapped in sheets from the is that the second or third one where like all the
Second,
second one,
yes.
yeah. So they've definitely done that where like most of them are mannequins, but then a couple are real performers who are going to jump at you. But my main point with the bathroom one was yes, someone was puking in the toilet, but they added a puke smell. And Matt, opening night, it was vile. Like I actually thought it might make me puke, and by the time I went back a few weeks later, they toned it down. Like it was too much. It was
Maybe
like
what you were smelling was somebody actually having puked because of
maybe
it.
it would be maybe it's like puke on puke on puke at that point.
Yeah.
But it was like the first time one of those smells, and they've done other bad smells, but this is the first time that it was like, oh my God. And I was like holding my breath the second time, but then I was told a few weeks later they've dialed it back a lot, and they had.
I hope that Josh gets the nickname Foggy, like Foggy Nelson did. Like it's just Foggy Lambert.
I do like the idea that he's like the idiot teacher.
What is it? Is it comic book canon that his name was Foggy because of weed?
No, I don't think so. Or if it was,
Why
they
was
would
he
have.
Foggy in the comics?
I don't know. Probably
Because that was what they explained on the Netflix show, right?
right. But in the 1960s, it was probably some stupid slang that we long
Why
forgot.
was he foggy?
I don't know. Maybe he's forgetful, right? Maybe he's like
Maybe he has fucking demon repressed memories. Okay.
He's just a forgetful dude.
Well, the law firm of Nelson and Lambert will never take off between the fogginess. Let me tell you about the thing that really, and I understand why it's done because they need something as a catalyst for like these memories and for the red door and all that. But let me tell you about the most aggravating part of this movie for me. Now, everything else I was saying, like as far as like the marriage, the conflict, the stuff that happened off screen with the separation of the family seems silly. That's just me, John, about bullshit. I accept it. It's all fine from a horror movie standard. From the Insidious world, it totally works. It doesn't matter. Like I was just mock complaining. The art teacher that he has
Oh, she
drove me
sucks.
fucking insane.
She sucks.
Like trying to be the fucking like seize the day Robin Williams, like tear it all up, fuck traditions, we're breaking rules, also self-hypnosis yourself and think of ugly thoughts. And yeah, she's terrible. I would have walked out anyway. That guy got kicked out of class. I would have been like fucking good. I would have shit on the floor and then left. She's terrible. He was really excited, driving to fucking college, listening to his dad's fucking REO Speedwagon or whatever he was listening to. And he was just like, how's your art teacher? And he's like, yeah, Aragorn, or whatever her name is. Amadon, whatever it is, actually sounded like a demon. So I thought Armagan. I thought that like that was going to wind up being sort of like a weird demon clue.
Armagan.
But anyway, yeah, she's like his like lovely picture of his grandmother that is a key here because it's all like grandma was hiding something. Look at her suspicious eyes and stuff like that. She's like, rip that shit up, you motherfucker.
Well, she didn't actually tell him that. He just did it first.
Yeah,
because he was so vibing with her.
Yeah, I mean, he just got ahead of himself. He was so excited. He's like, I didn't know we got to break shit. Yeah, so
no, I put, hey, fuck her in my notes.
Yeah, exactly.
I did like the scene where when he first draws the door and it's sort of like the intense he's doing it faster and faster, and then the clawed hand grabs his hand. And I did like how that was done with Josh waking up at the same time and the bleeding onto the art. I thought that was a pretty cool sequence.
I guess it's just sort of like, but the movie is basically like Josh and Dalton basically are still able to astral project and accidentally go into the further, which makes the idea of repressing their memories even worse because the whole point is that you don't want them to accidentally go into the further because they don't know they can.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
is.
and that's what happens in this movie. It's just eventually time passes and they're going to accidentally slip because they don't know what the hell they're doing. The responsible thing would have been for everyone to try to train them to use their astral projection for fucking good, like Elise. Right. Like go in and help people, and then they take over the spectral sighting business, and there you go. Father-son business, kick Specs and Tucker to the curb, make them go back to working at Best Buy. I like in the clip video that they showed, they are wearing the ties. Like this is during the white shirt and tie era. It could either be post Elise or during Elise, right? We don't know when.
I think they act like she's passed away because they say our mentor in a way that makes me feel like it's
that's true. That's true. Yeah, and also his hair. We can track everything timeline wise by Tucker's hair. Yeah. So, but yeah, the art teacher, man, Jesus.
I do like also Dalton, like, because again, he doesn't know what the fuck's going on, but it's like when he first goes into the further and he goes to Chris's room and he's almost being like playful with it. It's like, cause he's like picks up her instrument and stuff. And, I thought that was sort of like a fun idea of him trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. Also, this movie does. You said one thing got you as a scare, and I'm curious if it's the thing that got me. What is it?
It's the window crash.
Oh, okay. Two things got me, but that's the best one. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. The window crash. It was all. If anything else got me, it was probably a dad thing. It was probably the. I think actually a very effective moment in here was the CAT scan machine, like the thing where, because it's also like paired up with, because we know what's happening. We know that he's stuck in some demon realm and something's going to try to spook him. But like, it's a nightmare, even if it wasn't like a supernatural situation, being in that machine and then having the power turn off, being stuck in there, and then having no one respond to you. It's just a claustrophobic nightmare of like, what if I'm buried? It's a buried alive nightmare, right? Like, so I think that really worked. But what is your...
I'll say my other one, but no, that was my favorite too. The memory game sequence, I think, is very good, as much as he's terrible at it.
Well, that's the thing, is I was distracted, but I saw the guy outside, but I was still more obsessed with the fact of how poor he was at fucking guessing.
I was more honed in on the creepy factor.
I'm surprised he could remember the names of the people in the pictures. He's like woman, kid,
lady.
Lady, I had me question mark.
Is this... Lady I made babies with. No, so yeah, it's very creepy how the guy outside getting closer and closer. I do remember that playing really well in the theater, and then the smashing the window is great. And I both like that it turns out that this is his dad, who's also the first time we see him is like behind the car after the funeral.
Yes,
and when he's texting with Dalton, and that's really good too. I like that it's his dad, so basically it's a quote unquote good ghost trying to like get messages to him. Although I do like the idea, and I understand that sometimes they will do ghost stories that kind of show this, but it's like,
well, it's like the kidnapped girl in the last movie. You know what I mean? Like she's a scary presence, but she's also trying to like warn them and tell them something. Yeah.
Right. And it even follows kind of like the rules of the movie Ghost of like, you almost kind of have to do something dramatic because it's like you can do these like little pushes, but it is funny that it's like smashing the window. Like, I'm trying to fucking help you, son.
It would be funny. Well, technically the vomiting kid was trying to help him too, close the door, but he's like, this is the only way I know how. Blah, vomits all over his face. Like they're really bad at communicating, let me say. I thought there would be a little more. Again, we didn't get the dad stuff in the first two movies, right? Like nothing was mentioned about like dad abandoning. Again, more lies. Your dad left us, just wanting not to, basically tell him that he was in a mental institution and killed himself. And that, just the harm that these types of like lies can cause years later. I thought there would be a little more revelation behind the dad thing because it takes up quite a bit of the movie, except him just learning that his dad had the same shit. It's just like, look at this box that you've had this whole time, I guess, in your closet, with the note. Like, I was expecting Josh, to actually die at the end.
I did too.
Sacrifice, or I mean, we know where he was. He'd be stuck in the further, like Elise and stuff like that. But like, I thought he was going to sacrifice himself.
I thought he was sacrifice himself, and/or Elise was going to show up to help him at the door. I remember thinking that in the theater too, because I'd forgotten that we do see Elise again in that final moment, which is a nice moment. But
or Lorraine, like you said, Lorraine showing up.
Yes,
you
yes.
know, like I'll hold the door, you go with your son, or something like that, right? Like,
right. I am curious. It's funny. When they were conceiving this movie, I wonder how much, like, they had to obviously be talking about actor availability, because I remember when they announced this movie, it was announced that Patrick Wilson is directing, Ty Simpkins is starring, Patrick Wilson will be in it, and at first there was no mention of Rose Byrne, and obviously it's like she's doing plenty, and then they announced she'd be in it, and so, but I assume like they probably weren't sure, like, would she be free? Could they get her?
I thought we wouldn't see her after the opening scene. I thought we wouldn't see her again.
Right.
Like I was like, okay, she came back to do like the moment with the death of Lorraine, and like just to set up the family stuff, like one scene and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice that they came back and that they had sort of that confrontation about everything that happened.
Right.
This is all Lorraine's fault. And this is all parents' fault. Like there's a whole thing with like the Lambert stuff, which is like the sins of the parent, who probably, if confronted with this, would say, I was doing the best I can, in a very boomer type way, and not like take full responsibility. But like Lorraine's lies, like about the dad, like keeping that from Josh, and then also wiping his memory, like so that he can't warn his own family and know, like, going forward that this could happen again. This is all Lorraine's fault. I'm glad she's dead. There you go.
I liked that when Dalton, when the lantern's sitting by itself in the further with the smoke, it was very Bray Wyatt sitting there. It looked like that phrase music should be playing. Also,
I am really bummed I missed that house. I was gonna say Scare Zone, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. With the timing of that, we're talking about the WWE house last year that they did. I do like that this is a 2023 movie that's a 2019 period piece, because Ty Simpkins obviously would be older than going to college age, but they wanted to make the story him going to college, so that they set it in 2019 to go with the timeline of the series.
Oh, is it set in 2019?
They say it at the beginning, yeah. And
they say 9 years later. When was
2000? We know 2010 for sure, because the fourth one is set in 2010 and leads directly into the original. So it's
man, so they're gonna have to go from this right into the pandemic. That sucks.
Well, I
like, we just
I know his freshman year, first he deals with this, and then his studio's gonna be doing everything from home again. How much in real life, Matt, do you think people have been put in dorm rooms that are men and women because someone's name is, could be either gender?
You mean in movies?
No, I'm saying in real life, because movies would have you have, and TV shows
would have you believe it happens every
right. That pretty much
every semester, like every room is a mismatch.
That they just flip
I'll say this is that they actually have co-ed dorm rooms now, which is like, if you if a guy and a girl are friends from the same, if you're friends prior to going into college, some colleges allow you to just petition to be each other's roommate. Like,
really?
Hey, yeah, absolutely.
That's interesting.
My girlfriend's daughter's doing that right now, like as she heads into college. Yes.
Because I can't remember. I remember
you could room with a dude or a girl. Like, it's fine. Yeah,
it's interesting because I remember
this is the only progressive thing that's happening in this country right now.
I remember visiting you at your dorm, but I can't get a good memory of your dorm.
You visited me at my dorm. I visited you at your dorm.
You did. Maybe I'm thinking about you definitely were at UCLA, but maybe it was an apartment.
I had an apartment with a girl. But yes, because we were friends in the dorm. So yeah,
the way, because my dorm, very small building, which is now very expensive lofts that because Emerson sold it, but small building, and so each floor was 2 sections, front and back, that were made up of like 6 rooms with 1 bathroom for the 6 rooms between a dozen people or whatever. But it was one of those things because we were right on top of each other, so it felt like we were like just living in a little house, and everyone would see each other in their underwear and stuff because we're all just like walking to brush our teeth and stuff, and it was extremely communal.
This sounds like a real hot pants college 2 situation.
But it wasn't. It was like more just like it. Yeah, it felt very like my point being, when you're saying like they will now let people be,
which is by far the best Ronnie Bostock movie, just so you know.
Wait, who?
Hot Pants College 2, Eric.
Oh. That's the name of the fictional character. I remember Hot Pants College too.
You don't remember the name of Jason Priestley's character from Love and Death on Long Island,
I
Eric?
didn't remember that was the name of his character.
I thought we were friends.
Yeah. But yes, so it was very communal, and so I'm glad to hear that they are just leaning into it more now. But I will say, they did move her the next day, so she wasn't just his room. And then Dalton had the good deal of a big room to himself.
Yeah, he didn't get anyone else in there.
They weren't replacing him.
And it was like the guy from the frat. It's like, hey, it's Nick the Dick.
Oh, no.
I got kicked out of the frat.
Nick the Dick got kicked.
For murdering a pledge.
And I did like that actress, Sinclair Daniel. I thought was very likable as Chris, playing a very manic pixie dream girl character. You know, it's like she's so, let's have fun, let's be crazy. You know, I'm your best friend, but maybe we're gonna be girlfriend and boyfriend. Like,
yeah, but it's also the kind of is like, I don't know, let's go to the frat. It could be fun because it could suck. You know, so
right. I'm pretty ironic. Also,
look at my crazy instrument. Yeah,
that really threw me because she has a crazy instrument and then she's a math major. I was like, she's not even a music major. She's like, no, I'm here.
I don't know. We'll never find out what happened.
Wait, we will when we do the next sequel and they're married. You don't know?
Oh, I was going to say, do you know something I don't? And also I was going to ask you, I let the credits run. Did something happen at the end? My back was turned and I was like, what happened? I heard something. And then I was too lazy to rewind because it had already streaming wise skipped on to the next fucking movie.
Yeah. The only thing that happened at the end, it wasn't really over, Matt. They show the door, which is still covered in the black paint, but the light turns on above it. It starts flickering, and the light turns on above the.
I mean, we know he's still down there. They didn't kill him.
Right.
So that's not a big revelation. If you had told me that, like, I would go and fast forward through the whole movie if you told me that the lipstick face demon was shown killing the art professor.
Or transforming into her, because that turns out
and that would have explained so much. No, honestly, Eric, that would have solved a lot of the movie, because I'm like, why is she doing this? Why is she so terrible? Why is she actively doing things that make him remember repressed Red Door memories? And I'm like, if she was like a demon in disguise, that would have obviously they would have had to change the rules of how these things could work for this movie. But you know what? It's the fifth movie. You could do that. That's fine. Yeah, like, and this guy is like built up over the years so much as this iconic image. If you told me that he could just do this, I would be into it. And I you know what? I believe this.
Well, it could be lore if we choose. We know nothing about him.
I choose this as my story.
We don't know anything about him, so why not? Oh, I never said my second creepy moment, even though the window is by far the most. It did get a Jesus Christ out of me when he sees the bloody handprint on Chris's now empty bed, and then the sheet on his bed leaps up.
Okay, the sheet pop up. Yeah.
That got me pretty good.
All right.
And then
I'm
trying to remember. That was interesting at the end where, like, these other random, which is fine, like, these movies have established that there's other random ghosts in the further, and they're the haunted spirits. They're all coming for Chris until Dalton can get back to his body. That it's like, you know, the walls are coming down.
I'm actually curious about the astral projection here, because they sort of like doubled down on, I should say, the idea that if you can astral project, you can go to the further. But it seems like you can only go to the further. Can you do anything else, is my point. Like, obviously, the further seems to be the pocket dimension that you walk through, because I guess we think he's walking through that when he goes into her room, you know, upstairs, and like blows into her instrument and like freaks her out. But can you go anywhere? Is this the only realm? Is my point. Like, is there other places you can go if you astral project? Because there's the whole thing of like, astral projection, I could fly over my house and I'm a superhero. Can you just be normal in astral projection and not have to go into tormented ghost world, you know?
Right. Is there a nice part of it? You reminded me that
just a neutral part of it, you know, like
sure. You reminded me just now that with flying over the house, I like the opening credits and using like Dalton's art for a previously
that was good.
On the
Yeah.
Lambert.
I like that. And I like that he does the art now, and like the pictures he has, and you know, it's a good story beat of like, I finally made the wall. And I like the picture. It was very touching. Like the picture he drew
Yes.
was of him carrying him out, like from the last adventures, you know?
Yes, no, I like that a lot. I think it does a good job with those final moments with Elise showing up to Josh and with the painting, with the drawing. It's like, yeah, like we said, like if this is the last time we see the Lamberts for real, it works well. Or if we, see them in another decade and see what's going on. Maybe the next one's all about the little sister. She suddenly gets focus.
Yeah, well, finally do the mashup and bring back, Elise's niece,
Oh
from the last
yeah,
movie,
yeah.
like do all that stuff because she can be Elise can still be in the further, but you need someone in the real world to do stuff. So
What is going on with Elise's niece? So I rewatched the trailer for Six last night. Have you seen it?
no, I will now. But yeah, I didn't want it to because I hadn't seen this movie, so I didn't want
Right.
it to like.
Do you mind if I say like what the trailer seems to be saying it's about?
Oh, sure.
It's about a girl who's getting the ability to see these ghosts. Elise appear, Lin Shaye's in the movie, and it seems like Elise's spirit is talking to her and saying like kind of mentoring her. She has a line about like you can do something I've never seen someone do, which is you can bring these things back to our world and permanently. But anyway, as I'm saying this, as I'm thinking about the trailer, I'm also like, where's her fucking niece? What happened to her? Was she a dud? Like, did her abilities go
Yeah,
nowhere?
I mean, it was a hit movie, and this movie made even more. Like
This
this
was
movie
the
was.
biggest hit again. So 4 and 5 are yeah. And look, it's not like we talked about how The Conjuring is always kind of overshadows it because it makes like 400 million versus 200 million. So it's like these movies aren't going up like an insane amount each movie, but they're just holding, not only are they holding steady in the US, maybe dropping a tiny bit, but internationally they keep slightly growing. And when you're
Okay.
5 movies in
Yeah.
and you are slightly growing each time, that's pretty fucking good.
A couple things as we start to wrap up, which is I was very amused and retro interested in the idea they had before. The idea they had before Patrick Wilson came back and was like, this is going to be about the family again, and we're going to tie up all this stuff and continue on with the story, is that there was a notion to cross it over with the Sinister series,
Yes.
which is I would have been interested in, if only because Sinister is such a great movie and the sequel is so subpar that it's a blessing and a shame that it never took off as a franchise. Like the first movie is so good that you automatically think, well, this is easily franchisable. And then when the second movie didn't do well, you're like, maybe that's for the best because it should just exist as this great first movie. But then I was also like, ooh, a crossover that will bring back the Sinister stuff. This is enticing to me.
Yeah, I only saw Sinister for the first time last year or the year before. It was great, but I haven't watched the second one because everyone, including the writer, is so like about it.
Well, that's the thing. It's not the worst thing ever. It's just
Yeah. At some point, I'll watch it. You reminded me of two things I wanted to mention from the beginning of this movie, like literally the beginning, because it's the credits. One is that I thought it was kind of cool because this series has been going from 2010. This movie is 2023. That we got this evolution of the first movie. There is no Blumhouse logo because they hadn't made one yet, and then the sequels have the Blumhouse logo that ran through like the 2010s, and then this one we've got the modern Blumhouse logo that has the black phone and Michael Myers and all that stuff. So a nice little way to chart this company through the times. Also, I forgot to mention on 4, but I'll mention it here, that it's funny that after the third movie, the first 3 do it, they drop the giant sting on the soundtrack when the title Insidious comes up. Yeah. 4 and 5 don't do that. And then the last thing is just a question I have watching, because again, if the only characters to be in every single movie in this series are Elise, Tucker, and Specs. Lin Shaye is definitely in the next one in a bigger role than this one, just based on the trailer, but no confirmation on Tucker and Specs yet. So we'll see if they pop up.
So I see. So I will watch the trailer, but the next one is out of the further because this girl can bring things out into the real world, like you said, I'm assuming. And then do you think because the next movie is written and directed by a guy named Jacob Chase, who I don't know his work. Do you feel like, this is interesting because we've done a couple series where the original creators left and then someone else came in, someone who was like a hyper fan and hyper fixated on the actual specifics of the lore, like Fast and Furious and Saw and things where it's like everything means something, and like retconning things and stuff like that. But with Insidious, we have had a steward the whole time that has been very, adept at that, like with Leigh Whannell, and like there hasn't been anything that has fallen by the wayside. So do you feel like this next movie is being made by an Insidious fan who is like keeping that going, or is this like a new entry from a new creator and it's like, the basics? Like, we're not going to get into like we're not going to talk about, Lise won't mention her nieces or the Lamberts, or nothing will come back.
I mean,
we won't see the red-faced man. We won't see, like, is this...
Right. They might have made that decision anyway. Who knows? Because, like, look, Whannell and Wan are still producers. Whannell was still, putting out a quote on the press release because, they're shot this and like a lot of these shot. Their 6 is shot in Australia, where Wan and Whannell are from, and so I saw that Leigh Whannell was like, "Oh, we're so happy to bring production to blah blah blah." That doesn't mean he's actively involved in the all the making of the movie, but he's still part of the franchise. But I could also see them being like, "It is part 6. We've ended the prequel movies. We've entered, for now at least, the Lambert story. This might be the more standalone than the other ones. We'll see."
Because is it now basically Elise is coming in and being like, the further is tormented ghosts, it's a realm, kind of the way Jason, by the time we got to like Jason Takes Manhattan, it was just a weird folk tale, even though it probably happened only 8 years ago.
Right,
it was,
right.
It was just like, you never heard about Jason Voorhees, basically giving people the bullet points of broad audience going knowledge, so.
I mean, I could see it being something like that. Oh, and we talked about how Tiptoes Through the Tulips obviously is very, very associated with this series. It gets used in a lot of promos. It's every time they do it at Horror Nights. But the 5th movie is the first movie they actually play it in the movie since the first one.
Okay, since the first one, sure.
Yeah, where it's actually in the movie, not just in a trailer. But yeah, I can see this new one. I think again. I hope Tucker and Specs show up. I want that continuity.
All right.
But I would assume if they do, it's like going to be a quick zoom, right, with the main character, something like that. But who knows? Who knows? We'll find out in a couple months or a few weeks.
See, I'd be fine if Tucker and Specs didn't show up. If what's the niece's name? Jesus, Imogen. Like, who's the one who's actually the?
I think Imogen is the one who has the abilities. Yes.
Okay. Imogen's a great name, by the way.
It is.
I'm for that name. Okay. Imogen and what is the Melissa? Melissa's the one who got kidnapped into the nether realm, and then Imogen's the one who
she got neck keyed.
Yes, she got neck keyed. Yes. Please don't make me say that again. It's too hard to say. All right. That was Insidious, The Red Door, the final, until right now, Insidious movie that there has ever been.
But soon that will change.
Till the new one comes out at the end of August.
And if you are a Hudson Hawk subscriber on a Patreon, you can listen to us do an episode about that after it comes out. Although I have to see what the timing is with Horror Nights. It might be a few days delayed. We'll find out.
I think we'll be okay if there's a delay.
No! We won't be.
All right. Until next time, everything is possible, but nothing is real. And Shockma.
Shockma!
Shockma!